All right, number 58, last in this section, we have radical x plus 3 equals simply x minus 3. Well, again, we want to solve for x, and right now we have x's on both sides of the equation, but on the left-hand side here, the x is under a radical. So let's go ahead and square the left-hand side to eliminate that radical, but of course, whatever we do to the left, we also have to do to the right. And so here on the left, the radical is eliminated, and we're left with just x plus 3. And here on the right, we have x minus 3, that quantity squared. And so what we have to do is take that binomial, x minus 3 squared, write it out twice, and FOIL. So we have x times x gives us x squared, x times minus 3, minus 3x, minus 3 times x, minus 3x, negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, and so when we combine like terms, we end up with x squared minus 6x plus 9. So x squared minus 6x plus 9. All right, so it looks like we've got ourselves a quadratic equation here. So let's go ahead and move everything to one side and set this equation equal to 0. So we'll subtract x, we'll subtract 3, subtract x, subtract 3. So what we end up with is x squared now minus 7x, now plus 6 equals 0. All right, and so we know what we have to do here, don't we? We're going to have to factor this. So this is a quadratic. We're going to factor into two binomials, and we're looking for factors of 6 that add to give us negative 7. Well, we're dealing with just an x squared, so we can go ahead and break that x down into x and x. And again, factors of 6 that add to negative 7. Well, I'm thinking negative 6 and negative 1. Negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6. Negative 6 plus negative 1 is negative 7. And now that we have our factors, we're going to set each of these factors independently equal to 0. So we'll have x minus 6 equals 0, and we'll have x minus 1 equals 0. All right, let's go ahead and see what happens here. So we'll add 6 to both sides, so we get x equals 6. Here we're going to add 1, so we get x equals 1. And now let's go ahead and take each of these, plug them back into the original equation, and make sure that these two answers are valid. So if we take 6 and plug it in, well, we have 6 plus 3 is 9. Radical 9 is 3. So we have 3 equals, and now 6 minus 3 is, in fact, 3. So we get 3 equals 3. So we know the 6 works. All right. Let's try 1 and see what happens. 1 plus 3 gives us 4. So we have radical 4. Well, radical 4 is 2 equals, and now we have 1 minus 3. Well, 1 minus 3 is negative 2, isn't it? So these two things do not answer. 2 does not equal negative 2. So we're going to drop the answer x equals 1, and the only one we're going to keep is x equals 6, because x equals 6 is the only value of x that makes this equation true.